Good evening, Razorback fans. Welcome to another episode of the Hog Talk Podcast, live from the Sterling Soap and Roastery Studios, part of the Believe in Buzz. And hear us on 106.7 in Central Arkansas. All live shows are presented to you by Arkansas Brewing Company in downtown Ozark. I am Porter Hayes, and alongside me, as always, is Adam Hall. We're also brought to you by Bet Online. Continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino card games available to play right from your phone. Head over to the website and use your mobile device today to sign in and get on the action. Remember to use the promo code BLEAV for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet on. We are joined via the Meaders Lumber Hotline, recent Division II JUCO National Championship coach, Dillon Hargrove. Hey, man, thank you for joining us tonight, and I'm sure y'all are still pretty hyped up after that national championship.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. Absolutely. No, it was a great experience, that's for sure.
And we talked before air, look, 6th, 7th season being a program, not coming into D2 JUCO, being an athletic program. It's really remarkable to see you go 31-1. You only loss was in the region finals, which we can get into that process here in a minute. But, just talk about the season recap and when you really seen things start to click of this team is special enough to go to the national tournament and win it all.
Yeah, I think it always starts with the year before, how many returners you have coming back at this level. At this level, it's a normal year to lose 10 guys in a year and have to go reload, and we were fortunate enough to have 3 returners in Kavion White, Bryant Hill, and Patrick Punch that were all big-time players for us the year prior, returning. So we knew we were going to have that in returners, and then we felt like we could create a team to kind of build around them, have good chemistry and mesh. And I knew probably a week, 2 weeks in that we had a ton of talent. And then as we kind of got going into practice, and started going to the preseason stuff, you noticed the chemistry right off the bat, that you felt like the selfishness was not there. And you got to get these guys to click within, a month before the season. And they did. I mean, it was just one more pass defensively. They're communicating the right way. And so we just knew that kind of in the beginning. We knew with the returners, with those 3 guys, we felt like they could win games. But the guys coming in, man, they made all the difference.
So going up, or we'll come back to like this season and the process, but let's go back a little bit further. You came to MPC from Little Priest Tribal in Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
What was your path leading up to get to Hot Springs, coaching wise, or?
Yeah. So my dad has been a high school coach for almost 30 plus years in the state of Arkansas and Missouri. I've got a twin sister. She's a basketball coach at the high school level. My mom's an educator, so I've just been around it for a long time. And so I played college basketball, had a few different stops, and graduated and was fortunate enough to go to Lyon and coach for a little bit, and made my way to Little Priest Tribal College and coached under a guy named Kyle Cooper. And it was kind of a build-up program, kind of like National Park was when I took it. I think they'd won 2 or 3 games in the 3 years, and Coop took me under his wing and taught me a ton about recruiting and different things. And I think we won 14, 15 games that year, beat the number 1 team in the nation that year. And after that, I knew I wanted to get back to the state of Arkansas. And my dad was at Perryville at the time. And a guy named Jason Hudnall was actually running the athletic program. He was the athletic director. He was basketball coach. He was everything. And so at Christmas break, we kind of heard that they were starting a program and they were a club team and kind of playing a couple teams, and kind of reached out to him. And I came down at Christmas, watched them play. And I can tell you this, that the gym looks a little bit different than it did then. And, but came in and met with Hudnall, talked to him about for 4 hours, and we really enjoyed each other, and it was on from there. And I was hired in July, and I got started a little bit earlier than that. But I mean, man, how much we have grown since I've got here on campus, and that's right when it started. We had 25 student athletes, men and women's basketball. and rubber floor, dim lights, metal chair backs, old bleachers. Now to date, I think we have 185 student athletes on campus. We're the largest junior college athletic program in the state of Arkansas. And so we did all that in 6 years. And so it's just been exciting to watch it all grow.
That's incredible. You go from describing yourself as a 1A small school in Arkansas with the facilities, and playing on a rubber court is no joke. Boonville, a town we played in high school, they had a rubber court, and you would talk about just what it did to your knees. It's just very. And you look, I mean, Hot Springs is a really cool town, and you're talking about Perryville right down the road, so it was. It's not like you're coming to the Arkansas, but yet you're still 4 hours away. So it's nice that you're right there close to home. But getting into this season, what I've really noticed is again a team that you've been a program for such a short time. What was your coaching philosophy? Because I noticed your top 5 scorers all double digits. It's very even, and you're scoring 91 points a game. I mean, really, honestly, in D2 level, don't see that as much. What went into really this high scoring team that you put on the court this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think a little bit of it is we want the players to have some freedom. We bring them in to be the players they are, I guess. And we run a pretty good, fun offense. We call it Ghost, and it's been successful to us. And we play fast, but we also play slow. And kind of our philosophy coming in is we want to be a fast-paced team, but we also want to be able to execute at the end of the game when it gets slow. And I think in the national tournament, we learned that pretty quick that, you don't see a ton of 100 to 105-point games. It's going to be 70 to 74-point games, and that's when you get down and execute. And so really coming into it, we preach share the basketball. And at this level, it's hard, right? Because as an individual at a junior college level, you have to put up certain numbers to be able to go on to that next level, get a full ride, wherever that is. And we tell those guys, please trust us. And nobody wants a loser, And if we got one guy that's averaging 25, we feel like we're pretty easy to guard. If we got 5 to 6 guys averaging double figures, you're pretty tough to guard. And so when you win a ton of games, that's just going to bring a lot of attention to your program. And usually the players are found there. So,
and coming into this season, we found a little tidbit that you told us before we started recording. Your only loss of the season was at the Region 2 championship against South Arkansas. I thought it was 2017, but that was Division I. You informed us that this was the first year that they started at-large bid. So I just wonder, just the mental of knowing you go undefeated and losing in the D2 championship game, that would prior to this year would cost you going to the national championship. How fortunate was it that, of course, you go on this deep run, win it, now you get a second chance in that at-large bid?
Yeah, and throughout the entire year, we didn't feel a ton of pressure. I think we got into the rankings in January, or we were number 3 in January and ended up getting number 1 at some point and held it for 7 weeks or so. But really, I think the most pressure it wasn't really about the ranking or anything or however many games. It was about, can you capture the at-large before the postseason game started? And actually, we had 2 conference games left. Nakavion White goes down and can't play at North Ark and can't play at SAU Tech, which are both really good teams. And I was a little worried. I felt like if we could win the regular season out, I feel like we had an at-large, but still you think about it. And then, we win both those games and we win the first round against Mid-South and then draw South Ark, which was a really well-coached team. And again, it's hard to beat somebody 3 times, but I mean, when we got beat, and here's the fun thing about it. It wasn't fun for our guys, obviously, because they're crying and going crazy. But they didn't know about the at-large when we got beat.
Oh.
They didn't even know it was a thing. We knew it was a thing.
Oh, man.
But, we didn't talk about it a ton because we didn't want to apply that pressure to them after that. And so, we get beat and you got the team. I mean, it was the last game of the year. And but it was the best thing we ended up doing because we told them, hey, listen, guys, we're going to have a really good shot, probably better shot than anybody in the country to get this at-large. And there was 4 at-larges, and we felt confident. But after that, that happened, it just ignited a spark a little bit with those guys. They felt what it could feel like to get beat and be out. For about a week, we were sitting on pins and needles waiting for the show, and we ended up getting in, and that's all we needed. That helped us a ton in the national tournament to get beat, though. So,
what's your recruiting process like for the guys that that you're getting to come to Hot Springs?
Yeah, we're a pretty heavy transfer team. We've been successful with freshmen as well, but we'll take anybody from anywhere. And to be honest, I feel like we've got pretty good players right now, and I use those guys. Hey, who's your buddy? Is anybody in the portal? Whatever it is. We got some really good connections in Texas, and I think it's guys that have played in our program before, and have told their friends. We have players call recruits all the time, and I think that's the biggest thing is guys that are playing for you now or in the past have good things to say about you and your staff. And so, we got connections in New York. We got connections in Vegas, Chicago, Texas now. And so really, I think we're doing what everybody else is doing. We've got a big list up on the whiteboard, and we're just seeing the transfers pour in right now. And I know it just ended the other day, but really just going through that process and being patient. And we really don't start signing guys until summer starts at this level, because everybody's trying to go Division I or Division II. And so, or Division I junior college. So we got to worry about them. And so we're usually the last one for them, but we stay on them. We work hard and we try to build a relationship. I think that's our biggest thing. So,
yeah, it's interesting looking at your roster here, and you've got more out-of-state kids than you have in-state kids. And you brought up a good point. You don't really see that when you go to that level of D2. I went to a D1 JUCO, and it was rare to see a guy from Oklahoma on. You had a couple, but most of it was out of state. So seeing all the guys on your team, it's Chicago and Texas and Dallas, Odessa, it really just builds that program. And that's what I was going to ask you is, win a national championship. How many guys are knocking on that door? How many guys are now wanting to come be a part of this program and go into the in-state talent that we have in the state now and other JUCO programs? There's going to be a lot more of the pool you per se get in the summertime. And how do you think that's helped your recruiting in the short time post national championship?
It's helped a ton. When you can say you're a national champion and you're the number one team, helps a ton getting these guys, obviously I feel like we're a little bit better known in state, prior to this year. And we've been good in the past, but it's just, to make a splash like that and do those things, I think it's eye-opening a little bit to the in-state talent. Because I'm going to be honest with you, a lot of the in-state talent we're not getting. Because Connor State's getting them, Three Rivers is getting them in Missouri, or we're getting picked to pieces a little bit by the out-of-state JUCO D1s or whoever it is, and we feel like we've gained a little bit of respect, and we feel like we're just kind of like those guys at the same part, and so recruiting in-state, it's helped us a ton. Recruiting out-of-state has helped us a ton, and having Texas guys like. We got a lot of Texas guys, Dallas and Houston, Odessa, has helped a lot there because the names that we had there. We had a kid from Duncanville. That's huge to have a kid from Duncanville. Two more kids that were from Dallas from that area, and so people know who we are just based off those kids playing here. And I feel like social media runs the world a little bit. And so when they see National Park College posted and they see those guys from Duncanville, or they see those guys from Permian or from those schools that are a little bit bigger, they say, man, that kid was a good player in high school, and he went to National Park, and so that helps us a little bit. So
well, and I'm looking at your jerseys. Look, D2 national program. We're in Jordan. You didn't back in the day. You were good enough to try to maybe get some Reebok. We had the Reebok, the Allen Iverson Reebok shoes.
Yeah.
But it was just, I remember we went through a stretch where we lost 3 games in a row, and they made us put on the old 80s short jerseys out of the bins, and this was back in 99 or 2000, 2001. But, that helps too, being able to market yourself. And that's where I found y'all, through social media and really being able to start following your program. And I think I started in 2019 when I really caught wind of the program and started watching it. That's got to help too when kids are coming in and you have a nice arena. You have the Kettle, correct?
Yeah, the Kettle.
You have that catchy name. You have the Jordan brand jersey. So I know that's got to help as well too. Having those jerseys.
Yeah, no, I think and another huge thing is the community in Hot Springs, like how many people we have at our games. Like if you go and watch our live streams, especially at the end of the year this year, it was pretty crazy. We're not holding a ton of people in the Kettle. We're about 400, 500 max. But it was full. I mean, standing room only, and it gets pretty loud, and you kind of get that, I guess, like district final high school feel, with you got all the student athletes in the stands, you got people that don't have no relation to National Park College in the stands, just there for the game. And
that's awesome.
Our guys try to put on the show. So.
Speaking of former players, I know we talked about a little bit of this beforehand, but Jalen O'Connor, not too long ago, hit a half-court shot at an Oklahoma City Thunder game for, $20,000. Yeah. I guess, some publicity there would have been if he had a MPC shirt on or something like that. But, we do have a lot of Thunder fans, having 2 former Razorbacks and 2 Fort Smith, Arkansas natives on their roster. But I'm going to cue up here Jalen's shot just so everybody knows what we're talking about here.
How about this shot here? He's at the 20,000.
And Nick is standing by. Guys, I've got Jalen O'Connor. He's from OKC. Tell me about this moment, playoff atmosphere, and your $20,000, Richard.
Oh, man. Hey, it's like a dream. I'm not going to lie to you. Walking in the stadium, I didn't know I was going to get this opportunity. I got the opportunity, and I did what I did with it. I mean, I'm just blessed. Really, I'm just blessed. That's all.
So the question is, what are you going to do with that $20,000?
Man, it's time to start up a business. It's time to take care of my family. It's time to take care of myself and go to that next level in my life. And thank you.
Juke.
There you go. That's really cool that, you were talking about him and also have some National Park jersey on, or hey, you might be like, hey, here.
That's right. No,
money.
No, I texted him after that and I was like, you're the man. You made about half my salary in one shot right there. So congratulations.
So what, you're talking about now, it's off season. When do y'all really start gearing up? When do y'all start? I mean, what's the summer like for a program like, JUCO nowadays? And, how do you think it really hinders against the D1s and when you're bringing guys in? Do you have more time now to prepare during the summer? Pretty much summers are off.
No, really right now at this point, biggest thing for us, graduation's on May 11th. We have study hall literally every day right now, even Saturday, Sunday. So once May 11th hits, then we are in recruit mode. And right now we got to go get 10 to 11 guys. We got some irons in the fire right now, but it's big. I mean, really you come in every single day and you try to get those guys signed as quick as possible. And you would love to get them signed before July, which is when our second summer term comes. And if we got a lot of guys, we'd love to bring them in and have them take classes, have them be on campus for about 5 weeks or so and take those classes, go through some workouts, see how it's going to be, get that early relationship. And then, but honestly, I mean, we're going to sign, this is going to sound crazy. I mean, we'll probably sign 2 guys in August. And that's how late it goes for junior college guys is, and usually some of your best ones come in August. You got to wait that long. And so right now, me and my assistant, Drake Henderson, we got the big board and we got our phones out and we're calling people, Zooming people every day and just on it. You got to get 10 to 11 guys and hopefully you don't miss on any guys and they're all really good people. So that's really what we're trying to get right now. So
How many are you returning? So what's your return for, like, your returning starters? I mean, how many people are you expect returning?
we return we probably played 7 to 8 guys, and we're graduating those 8 guys.
Oh,
Right. And so we're returning some good pieces. Madison Peaster, that used to play at Little Rock Mills, will be returning. We have a 7'2" kid from Chicago, Tavarius Vincent, that redshirted. He'll be a Division I prospect, really good player. Mondo Watkins, that's a Lake Hamilton. He's been with us for a few years and redshirted his first year here. Colin Thompson from Conway, Arkansas. And so we've got a couple of pieces coming back that have been in the program, know what we want to do, and I think that's really important. But really, for the most part, we got to go find the bulk of our team coming up. So.
And one last thing for me, and I'll turn it over to Adam. And there's something we haven't even got into yet. Is I know we have the ones that one and dones in Division I NCAA, but look, you get to guys maybe 1 or 2 years every year. How does that? How's the development of you get a guy that is a sophomore, or he comes in a freshman, and then he might come back his sophomore year, and then he's gone to D1 or other levels. So how hard is that now? Again, you're saying you're starting over. You get like a 2-year hindrance because you are a JUCO program.
Yeah, and most of the time it's 1, to be honest with you. Most of the time you got them for 1 year, 2 years sometimes, but we've usually just had 1. But I mean, it's hard. You've really got, where 4-year programs might have 4 years with a guy to learn your program and your culture and all that kind of stuff. Really, these guys have to learn it, not in 9 months. They really got to learn it in about 2 months before the season hits. You got to be clicking, ready to go. And so it takes a lot of on hands. I mean, we are a big relationship-based coaching staff. We are with these guys almost 24/7, whether that's on the court, study hall, whatever it is. We try to hang around them all the time so you can build those relationships a little bit quicker. And so, honestly, I feel like the Division I and Division II is getting like that a little bit, where they got a grad transfer, where they got to come in and be able to play and mesh immediately. You're kind of seeing that at the Division I, Division II level a little bit too. It's not an easy thing to do, but we got to do it every single year. But it's fun. So.
Mm-hmm. So for the folks, as we wrap up here, the folks that are not in the Hot Springs area, come this next basketball season, how can they catch your games? Do they stream? Where do they stream? Things like that.
So we have a YouTube channel, National Park College Athletics, and we live stream all of our sports through that. And it's all free. Every game is recorded afterwards. You can go back and watch them. So literally every home game that we've played this year is on our YouTube right now. And so Mark Oliver, which is our commentator, our SID here, he does a fantastic job. I mean, he is awesome. And so it's a really good live stream to watch. It's very clean. We do a good job with it, but yeah, so.
Okay.
Well, and that's the thing I was going to ask. Has there been any talks of maybe utilizing a bigger arena that's in the same town, or are you liking the small field of the Kettle? Because sometimes you go to a bigger arena or you get an upgrade, it's just not the same atmosphere. So, is there any talks of possibly having some of your games in Banco ZK, or are you keeping it small?
We've talked about it before, maybe having a classic there or something, but to be honest with you, I'm a guy that's always wanted to play in the Kettle because you've got that home court advantage. It's a tough place to play. You come to a game here and the fans are, it's big time. And they feel it. Our guys feed off that. And when you get into a bigger arena, we're not going to have 4,000, 5,000 people come out to the game. We're probably going to have 300, 350 people come out, and in the Kettle, that sounds like about 50,000, people in there. And so we thrive off that energy. And honestly, I don't ever want to leave. If I could play every single game in there, we would. I promise you that. So,
there you go.
Yeah.
Well, hey, man, we really appreciate you coming on. Good luck with your recruiting process, and we'll definitely be following you. We got hold of your SID, Mark, and he's going to hook us up with, making sure we have all the scores and updates and rosters. So looking forward to really, really covering your team moving forward.
we got to get y'all some gear, man. You got to send me your sizes.
All right, we'll
Sounds
do.
good.
I'll send them.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
All right,
Thanks, guys.
appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Later. Coach Hargrove, man, again, look, I think there's only one other JUCO school in the state that's won a national championship. West Ark, when they won it back with Sonny Weems played, and then they won it before. They were youths at the time, and then they won a national championship when they were West Ark. So it's, again, I can't say enough how remarkable it is to say that the program's been a program for 6 years and they won a national championship. And let's be honest, prior to this year, last year, who even knew that they had a program? So this really, and like you said, you're trying to build a program, you're replacing all your guys. This makes it a little bit easier for you to now rebuild that program, because now you have that standard. You have a national championship on that you get to hang a banner. And so now the pressure's on. But again, when you got guys coming in from Texas and Nevada and Dallas and Chicago, I mean, it makes it easy.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's one of those things that, like you're saying, getting the former players to reach out, to hype them up to this and that. But now you can hang your hat on, we just won the national championship. Exactly. We just went 31-1. I mean, that's a completely different thing than just word of mouth from former players.
And by the sounds of it, it looks like we got to get down to the kettle. I love that name. That's one of the things.
Yeah.
I love it. Just being able, hey, we go play at the kettle. So
yeah.
We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back from our break, we're going to dive into very important baseball series coming up. And, of course, a lot of new transfer portal has closed. Keep on getting some commitments, and we'll keep on talking about the basketball talk after the break. Attention DIYers and home improvement enthusiasts. Are you searching for the right tools and the supplies to tackle your next project? Look no further than Mentor's Hardware Store. With locations in Ozark, Alma, and Clarksville, our vast selection of hardware and building materials is sure to have everything you need. Whether you're fixing a leaky faucet or building a new deck, plus our knowledgeable staff is always on hand to offer expert advice and guidance. And with our competitive prices and convenient online ordering, Mentor's Hardware Store is your one-stop shop for all your DIY needs. Visit us today, and let's build something amazing together. Are you in need of legal representation? Look no further than the offices of Robertson, Beasley, Shipley, and Robinson. As the oldest law firm in the River Valley, we have been serving our clients for over 100 years, with locations in Ozark, Fort Smith, and Spring. Our experienced team of attorneys provide expert guidance and advocacy in a wide range of legal areas, including personal injury, family law, criminal defense, and more. Trust in our history and experience to the results you deserve. Contact the law offices of Robertson, Beasley, Shipley, and Robinson today at 479-782-8813. That's 479-782-8813. Are you looking for a place to grab a cold drink and some delicious food? Look no further than Arkansas Brewing Company. Located at 201 South 1st Street in beautiful downtown Ozark, our establishment offers a wide selection of craft beers and tasty eats. But what sets us apart is our welcoming atmosphere and friendly staff. At Arkansas Brewing Company, you'll always feel like part of the family. So visit Destiny and Christopher Brockett and staff today and see for yourself what makes us the go-to spot for locals and visitors alike. Arkansas Brewing Company, come for the drinks and stay for the friends. Searching for premium brewery products that will take your daily routine to the next level? Look no further than Sterling Soap Company. Our handmade soaps, aftershaves, and balms are made with only the finest ingredients that give you the ultimate grooming experience. With a variety of scents to choose from, there's something for everyone. Plus, our products are crafted in small batches to ensure the highest level of quality. So why wait? Visit www.sterlingsoap.com or visit our retail store at 16 West Walnut Street in Paris, Arkansas. Shop our collection and discover the difference for yourself. Upgrade your grooming routine with Sterling Soap Company. And welcome back to the Hog Talk podcast. And Adam, I had the honor to go on Believe in Kentucky last night. The Believe podcast that covers the Kentucky Wildcats. And I don't know, it was kind of boring, nothing to talk about, nothing going on between Arkansas and Kentucky, with number one team in baseball, number two team in baseball, and number 8, Kentucky. And then, of course, all the basketball news. But it was really cool to go on there and talk with them and see their thoughts and what they wanted to know from our side of it. But, we spent 31 minutes talking about the Cal stuff before we even dove into this number 2 versus number 8 baseball series. But we're going to just start with that. And, coming in, Kentucky's kind of slid, losing their last 2 series against Tennessee and South Carolina. But you come in, Arkansas going to Lexington. I mean, what better timing for this series? We've talked about it for a couple of weeks now, but, you got Hagen Smith on the mound, and I talked to them on his stats. He's 4th in total strikeouts, but he's 1st overall in the country with 16.65 Ks per 9 inning. That is just him and the kid out of Wake Forest. How you could say per 9 innings, per game, you're striking out 16 of those batters. It does 16. Well, I guess if you say there's 27 outs in a game, 16 and a half of those are strikeouts. And very, very impressive stat.
I know we look each year at kind of like who's the MVP, who's this, and there's usually arguments for multiple players, but in this case, there's no argument, there's no case to be made. I mean, there's obviously supporting cast, but Hagen Smith is him. He has been him, and you just you hope to see it continue, which I think it will, and you hope that the bullpen and those around him help pick up any slack that's needed to be picked up, because what he's doing is just absolutely insane.
Yeah, I mean, they're a big part of why they are 39-7 and 31-2 at home. I mean, but what's impressive is when the bats go cold and then they need to warm up, they've shown that time and time again, and you can't really complain again when you're sitting there with 7 losses, 31-2 at home. And the biggest thing, for the first time since 2005, they've won all of their midweek series or midweek games. So, that just cruising into the series with Kentucky, your target just keeps on getting bigger and bigger. And, there was a lot of talk of people when this pitching staff was on fire from opposing fan bases. Well, wait till they, gets the SEC. Wait till SEC plays. Well, SEC play is here, and they're still firing on all cylinders.
And speaking of SEC play and whatnot, I just want, ESPN, if you're listening right now, SEC Network, there is absolutely zero reason that this series should be on SEC Network Plus, all 3 games. I feel like somewhere on your programming, on your scheduling, move somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you've got the NBA playoffs going on right now. That's about it.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why you've got the number 2 versus number 8, both in the SEC, and they're having to play on streaming only. It's just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. And that's part of the greediness of, we want you to buy ESPN Plus. We want you to have I mean, again, because if that was the same, SEC alternate channel's been around since 2012, ain't been a damn game showed on it. No. Fire that thing up. Let people on Dish and DirecTV and other entities watch them on that. Don't make them go to the SEC Network Plus, because then you get guys on there commentating that can't even pronounce half our names right. There should be no reason in 2024 that you can do all these broadcasts with the SEC Network Plus or ESPN3, and you can't put, especially with this big of a series, at Kentucky. But again, I don't. It just baffles me of why they don't have it, or at least one of them, one of the games on SEC. I don't know what other games or whatever series are being, but it pisses me off when you say, okay, what's on TV? And then you just see nothing, nothing that compares to what would bring, Arkansas in a series against Kentucky or Tennessee. Why are they getting passed up? And you can't move things around. Like you said, it don't take that long to set something up.
And I know with the SEC Network and whatnot, there's usually, I guess, the allotment of national games that each team gets, but in a chance like this, throw your little rules out the door and put this game, because it's not going to be just Arkansas and Kentucky fans that be tuning in. You're having the baseball enthusiasts, the SEC enthusiasts. They want to see what's going on with two of the top teams in the SEC and in the country. And it just goes to show that there is just a lack of understanding or concern when it comes to college baseball.
I think they do them a disservice. And I think, and you can kind of tie the fans into it because, again, we're just now starting off with baseball talk. And you've got Kentucky, Mississippi State, and Texas A&M left. So, we've done it. We've done them a disservice. The TV does a disservice because, but when you have a news like we've had with Cal, you have to lead off with that. But it's just the thing that I don't think baseball gets a fair shake until it's regionals. It's almost like the NBA. Nobody pays attention to the NBA during the regular season, but then the playoffs come and then boom. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what we're going to start getting into with, when they extended the March Madness to 68 teams. Well, regular season means a little bit, but you don't have the draw like you do in March Madness. Mm-hmm. So, again, there's a lot of draw, and there's a lot of regional that plays into these broadcasts, but still yet, you could put these things on the SEC network. That's a regional conference channel, and there should be no reason why. But you look at the next series against Texas A&M, SEC Network Plus. The series against Mississippi State, SEC Network Plus, SEC Network Plus, and Sunday. So Arkansas, for the rest of the season, regular season, has one game on the SEC Network, and that's the Sunday game against Mississippi State at 2 p.m. Every other game is SEC Network Plus. So, yes, if we can have our wish, 2024, 25, do better. Do better with getting a lot more of these games on the regular network, because you can do both. If you're seeing it on SEC Network, you can still watch it on SEC Network Plus.
Yeah, it's just something that I think, like you brought up with that alternate channel, I don't know if I've ever seen a game on that at all. It's just, they have the same graphic that's been up there for 12 years now. I mean, it's a waste of space. It gets your hopes up that there might eventually be something on there, but no, everything starts either on the ESPN app or another channel, and it's getting ridiculous. And especially with all the news over the last month with Coach Cal and Arkansas and Kentucky, it's like you would think that this would be something you'd want to put on it, because not only do you have the baseball talk, that's something for your announcers to talk about too.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, yeah, so all around you've got more eyes on it, just because that people are going to wonder what's going to be, what are they going to talk about Coach Cal and Arkansas and Kentucky on top of the game.
Yeah, and then they do it like, it took 4 years for Arkansas fans to realize that Robert Moore's dad was the head of the Kansas City Royals. I mean, you get into those situations where I guess it'd be a good thing it's at Kentucky instead of at Fayetteville, because it'd be at nauseum, just the talk. So I guess in a way it's a good thing. Maybe it needs to stay on the SEC Network Plus, but just for the baseball, you're wanting the game of baseball to grow. You're putting all these efforts with the pitch clock and trying to speed up the game to make it more favorable for TV. Why not put it on TV? And I love baseball, but I don't like listening to it on the radio. We have one of the best radio voices in the country, and Phil Elson and Bubba. Listening to them talk about baseball, it's just hard to listen to a 9-inning game on the radio. You utilize this to be able to do that. And, it's just something that they're failing to, they announce college football games the week prior. Hey, we're going to go to this town. There's no reason why they can't do that in baseball.
Well, you hope sooner or later they'll listen and change it. But until then, those people that have learned how to, sync up the radio broadcast with the SEC Network Plus broadcast, kudos to you, because, listening to Phil and Bubba is a hell of a lot better than, opposing announcers.
Yeah. And heading into this, looks like they have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys that are hitting over 300. Nick Lopez is leading it with 371. He has 32 RBIs, 4 home runs. Ryan Nicholson is their home run leader at 14, 42 RBIs, hitting 321. So this is going to be a team that you're going to have to pitch to. You're going to have to pitch, or get some solid outs, because you look at the pitching. They have, looking at some of their starters, looks like Dominic Niemann, 7-3 with a 1.3 or 5 ERA. I haven't. Have you seen their rotation for the Arkansas? Have you seen the starting rotation for Kentucky? Have they released their side and who they're going to go with Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
They have released it. I looked at it earlier. Mason, I think, had it posted earlier. Mason Choate.
Yeah, it's good to see Mason Molina back in the lineup.
Here we go. So game 1 is Trey Poozer. Game 2 is Dominic Niemann. And game 3 is Mason Moore.
Okay. So you got Trey Poozer. He is 3-0 with a 3.75 ERA. Dominic is 7-3 with a 5. And you said Cooper?
Mason Moore is game 3.
Moore. He's 7-1 with a 5 ERA. So they're giving up a lot of runs, but they're winning games. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that you go back to their hitting and looking at their fielding. There's only Ryan Nicholson's with 6 errors and Nick Lopez has 4. But other than that, they're not giving up a lot of errors in the fielding. So it's going to be a timely, and honestly, with this being in Kentucky, you're going to get maybe that little home field advantage. But, Arkansas is on a warpath, and you're dealing with the Razorbacks. You're dealing with the number 2 team in the country, number 1, however you want to swing it. I think there should be the number 1 team, but with the superstition that we've talked about, let's keep them at number 2 just for that namesake. Okay. Keep that number 2 ranking on them. But yes, back to Molina. It's going to be good to see him back in the lineup, because you have 3 very important series coming up before the SEC tournament, May 21st. A lot of baseball left to be played in the last 3 weeks, so hopefully, they're able to finish strong. We want this team to win in Omaha. So finish strong regular season, whatever happens in Hoover happens in Hoover. It's not going to affect your national seed. Barring, we finished these last 3 series strong, but you definitely need the bats to really start clicking when it comes to, getting hot at the right time. How many times have we heard that with other teams that Arkansas's ran into of getting hot at the right time? I really want it to be that for Arkansas. We've been carried by pitching for so many years, and, the rotations that we've had. And yes, we've had the talent behind the plate or at the plate. Now we want to see that full team come together in Omaha and win it all.
Absolutely. And I was just looking here before we segue out of baseball, and I saw that Cabo tweeted to you, gave you a shout out because looks like Ozark pulled the upset and taken down Shiloh Christian 5-4 in 10 innings.
Yeah. Got the hillbilly helmet behind me. Shout out my hillbillies. Yes.
Looks like Ozark will be in the state tournament in Gravette next week
with an 11 and a 17 record.
17 record, yeah.
That's insane. Yeah, shout out to the hillbillies on that. That's again, he said it perfectly. That's why baseball is so romantic. Anything can happen in those type of sports. You get a pitcher off his game and you get forced out of your starter and you go to the bullpen. Anything can happen. It's like a chink in your armor. And that's what's been the case, while we're talking about Arkansas. That has been that case every time when it comes to Arkansas. You like with Cops, you get to the point where he got rattled and NC State took advantage of that. You get into the fact where TCU comes in hot and just goes on a tear in Fayetteville. Now they have the rotation to carry them all the way to a national championship. And I think that's going to be the biggest key, is how that holds up and can we get the bats to really start syncing up?
Yeah, because, there's always been a lot of, has been this season, at least, there's been a lot of kind of frustration with the bats. Arkansas playing the small ball, etc. And, you hope that finally are able to figure something out by regional time. But, with Mason Molina being out previously for about a week, and now that he's coming back, game 3, kind of maybe shake off a little bit of whatever was going on before he went out with injury, because it kind of seemed like he was off his game a little bit recently. So you hope that he can find that this weekend against Kentucky.
And then moving on, we'll wrap the show up with some more of the transfer portal news, signing news. Big get in Davis, the guard. It's going to be, and when we're talking about with the Kentucky guys, I don't remember the last time there's been a true consistent rivalry in the SEC when it comes, and I'm not just talking about Arkansas, I'm talking about it as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't have the football type rivalry in basketball. We've had bits and pieces with, like with LSU baseball, and then a couple of years ago with Tennessee baseball. But I think this is going to cause a revamped Kentucky-Arkansas rivalry because of everything that's happened in social media with the coach and everything. And again, with this, and they're still battling recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't like Cal took the cupboard and left Kentucky with nothing. They got some players, and it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. But we need it. We need that rivalry in basketball to really make that regular season matter more. But it also, that rivalry goes back all the way to when Arkansas coming to the SEC. This is a rivalry that goes back, and you're talking about with Texas coming in football. This can kind of be the equivalent of it, of bringing this Kentucky-Arkansas true rivalry, and where Arkansas beats them just as much as Kentucky beats Arkansas, but they hate each other. I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, and I mean, we're still, there's still potentially going to be some former Kentucky players that land on this roster. I know we had Adu Thero yesterday that was in Fayetteville. The talk is, next 24 to 48 hours, we'll see him announce his commitment. Hadn't happened yet, but we shall see. DJ Wagner went to visit USC. He's the one that I know has been on Coach Cal's radar. For those that don't know, his dad is DeJuan Wagner, played in the NBA, played for Coach Cal at Memphis. The thing there is, the rumor talk is, he is apparently dating Juju Watkins, who plays for USC. So that could be a big thing that wants to put him out there. So in that aspect, I think you look at that as he would end up at USC for his relationship, not necessarily because Eric Musselman pulled him there. I don't consider that like a win-loss for Musselman or Calipari. But then we have Jordan Burks, who's been rumored with the connection there with Treylon. So we'll see what happens with that. I know there's about 7 to 9 other names on the list that have been in talks. We've heard of Norchad O'Meara recently. We've heard Keyshawn Pryor. Who else have we got on here? Kadari Richmond. So there's several big targets and big names that are still out there. I know Kentucky's signed 7 players so far in the portal. It's been good guys. There's been some guys that Arkansas has been after. And as much talk as Kentucky fans continue to do, when you actually look at the breakdown of the average ratings, they've got 7, Arkansas has 3. But those 3 that we have has still put us at a higher rating than Kentucky when it comes to.
They call it Kentucky.
Yeah. So when we talk
about that so hard here in Mid-Tucky.
It's one of those things that the guys that we've gotten so far, in a sense, are higher rated in the transfer portal. But nothing matters until they step on the court.
Oh, yeah.
But this whole thing has just created, a whole new hatred feel between the two schools. And with the addition of social media since the last time, Arkansas and Kentucky really hated each other, it's brought a completely new element into the mix.
Yeah, it's got me excited. I mean, that's the thing. I'm one of those old heads that love the rivalry, love the hatred. I don't like the buddy deal, and I know that's where we are for the majority, and that's all fine and well. But I want to see those two teams that step on the court. The fans are booing you. They hate you when you come on the court, and that's what we've had with the Kentucky the few times they've played in Bud Walton Arena. But I think it's just going to add a whole new aspect of it, especially if there's some more Kentucky guys that come over to Arkansas. But it's still comical that there's still people commenting on prior videos that we've posted on on YouTube, on our YouTube channel and Facebook, that they're just, I'll see a random comment, a stray comment, and I'm like, what are they? And then you're looking, it's a comment from 4 shows ago. That just shows you they're paying attention. As much as they want to say that they're not living rent free, they certainly are.
Mm-hmm.
And their talking board still mentions Arkansas every day. He knows what he's doing, and he keeps doing it to gain those mentions.
And I know this was brought up on Believe in Kentucky last night with you, and it's one of those things that this was it was the marriage that happened, but then it was the divorce that needed to happen, and that's exactly what it's been. I still see a bunch of Kentucky fans, pulling up old tweets from folks, from Arkansas fans that went, saying negative things about Cal, or saying this, saying that. And, like you said last night, it was that respect. There's still that respect factor of it, like it was with Saban and like has been with other coaches, that, we respect him for what he does and what he produces. But that doesn't mean you had to like him. You love to hate him type thing. And I look back at, there's guys like that in all of sports, not just coaching. I looked at Kobe Bryant the same way. I didn't, as a Phoenix Suns fan, I could not stand Kobe Bryant, playing against him.
Yeah.
And then it was one of those things that you couldn't help but respect him. And it's the same thing with Calipari. You hated to play against him, but you respect him otherwise.
Yeah, and that's what's going to happen. I mean, again, love to hate him, but now he's your coach. Just same thing. We'll look at Bobby Petrino and that whole deal. There's a lot of people who don't like Bobby Petrino even before he come back to Arkansas, and there was some that even when he decided to come back didn't like him.
Mm-hmm.
But now that he's here and he's warmed up the fan base, now they love him again. That's fandom. That's fandom, short for fanatics. That's just the way it is. Look at the Kentucky fans who didn't think Pope was going to be a good coach, and now they love him. I mean, it happens on every side of things when it comes to being a fan.
100%. So, there's a long time between now and November, October, whenever the games get going. You're going to see less and less of the foreign, which Arkansas wouldn't be up for it this year, but with the foreign tournaments that a lot of teams go to over the summers, you're going to see less and less of that, because teams are prioritizing with NIL and getting players in and spending the money elsewhere. So, we've got a long time until the fall gets here for things to really pick up. And, I just hope that Cal brings back the true Midnight Madness beforehand to kick things off.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, he's bringing back some summer camps. He's doing like a father-son deal. I'm even interested in doing that with my sons and stepson. But I did want to touch on something. If you are, I seen a post on it in the show on this. Razorback fans going to Kentucky, they're asking for you to bring some teddy bears or some kind of stuffed animal for the children's hospital. So I'd be remiss if I did not include that. I forgot to even talk to the guys on Believe in Kentucky last night. That I think I love the fact that, when they get involved with the children's hospital, been there a couple times with my son Gavin. But yes, if you're traveling, even if you don't bring it with you, stop by a Walmart, stop by somewhere and pick you up a stuffed animal, a teddy bear to donate during the game there in Lexington. And huge shout out to them for doing that for their local children's hospital. But you got anything else before we wrap it up?
Well, if anybody hadn't seen the post yet, I know next Thursday we'll have Trice official on the show. He put out a documentary, or is putting out a documentary called Calipari and the Chicken Man, I believe.
Yes.
He makes a lot of his own documentaries. I watched one on Steph Curry a while back. Now he's done this, and it just takes everybody through essentially some of the biggest news in college basketball that's happened. So I'm really interested to watch that next week when it comes out, and we'll have him on next Thursday, kind of go through his process and everything with that. So I'm excited for that.
Oh yeah. And there's not been a exact date on when that we're talking about that beforehand on when we were scheduling, and that way it didn't conflict with the release. But yes, we'll definitely go on with that. And I'm sure by then he'll know a specific release date. So keep track of that. We'll keep on plugging that throughout next week, having him on. But for Adam Hall, I'm Porter Hayes, brought to you by Bet Online, Sterling Soap Studios, and Arkansas Brewing Company. Catch you on Monday.